What's up out there? We are back with some more Ancient Relic mode, and I actually have an update. I defeated a dungeon with kind of without you, so unfortunately that's the way it goes. I kind of expected this to still be going. I didn't expect it to not be combating. So I went into the Depths of Ruin, and I fought in here. This is the gear setup that I was using, which is the Weaver's Amulet, the Abyssal Slayer helmet, and plate body up to Isolator level. The Azurian Night Opal Amulet 1 with 1% damage reduction, or Abyssal reduction. We've got the Smog Fiend Cape. I was running the Blighted Two-Handed Hook Sword, the Agile Gem to account for the Blighted Two-Handed Hook Sword. We've got the Soul Harvester Gloves for 2% Abyssal Resistance. We've got the Seismic Wave Boots. We've got the Brumite Plate Legs. And, of course, we're running Melee Hinder. And the Abyss Ring for 3% Abyssal Resistance. Now, I was also running Imp and Golden Thief tablets. I whipped up a bunch of those the other day so that I could work on summoning. I'm really lagging behind on my summoning, so I wanted to get that going. And I've got plenty of prayers, so I was running Endure for the Abyssal Resistance and Illusion so that items are not lost on death. Now, as I was running this, I kind of watched it for a little bit. I actually watched the trash mobs all the way up until the final boss. And if we go into this and look at the monster list, some of these monsters towards the end here, maybe the Spore Slingers and the Catacomb Worms, those were over my auto eat. And same thing with the Withering Devourer. He was actually over my auto eat. But the more I started looking at these, I don't think, and I think this if all the abyssal areas or whatever, if all the dungeons of this are the way that I'm seeing it here, then I wonder if the max hit is not really the max hit. So like this thing here says an avoidable attack that deals 100% of the enemy's normal damage 4 times over. So if that means that it's going to do my damage, if I'm reading this correctly, it deals 100% of the enemy's normal damage 4 times over. So if it's doing my damage, then that means it's going to do 15,000 DPS, right? Which I need to pay attention to that number. So there's 7,000 and it's 20,000. Well, I need, maybe when I'm editing, I'll try to look at this. Like, is it taking that max hit and doubling it, and that's where this number's coming from? I don't know, because I don't know. So anyway, I think that's the thing. These things are all doing damage over time, and they're not doing, like, this is showing over my full. An avoidable attack that deals 200% of the enemy's max hit. So this is saying 47,000. Well, maybe, I don't know. I don't know how that calculates, but I let this thing run, and I know we don't take extra damage for being stunned, but and it might be a combination of things, like my attack interval's pretty fast. I'm stunning these things and putting them into, I don't know. It's probably a combination of things, but I didn't die at any point during this fight. I don't know how long that fight went. I just said it. Once I watched this go, and, I made sure to equip this illusion item so I don't lose anything when I die or if I die. But this little yellow mark has been moving over my auto eat threshold, and I've not died. I've definitely gotten stunned, which I know we have the relic from the base game that once you get stunned, you don't take the extra damage that comes from it. So that's, we're not taking that massive of a hit. But I kind of wonder if it's a lot of damage over time stuff, and it's not. Now maybe it's 75% of this 23,000. Maybe that's what that 75% is. So like max hits 35,000. It's changed. 35,837. 37. Okay. So enemy's normal damage. So this is the enemy then. I can never figure out how to read this. Am I the enemy? Is it taking my damage? But apparently it's taking this max hit. So, okay, that makes more sense. So we need to watch the max hit number on these things, which I'm going to be over on this. But regardless, I just let it go. I did something else for a little while this cycled through the monsters. And then I just kind of chilled out and did some other things and came back, saw that I was fighting the boss and just let it go. It seemed like it was okay. We're not going to level up Block, are we? Block should be ready to... Oh, Block didn't get all the way over. So at any rate, I did get through this dungeon. I've got some upgrades to go. I wanted to catch it while it was still running and hopefully fighting the boss so I could show it in action, but that's the setup that I did, and I get nothing out of it. It's basically a worthless dungeon run. So we are through this one. This is the gear setup that I have. I'm running the Undead enhancement, the Gods enhancement, and the Dragon enhancement. I think I forgot to mention those. Prayers we looked at, and gear we looked at. I'm not running a potion. Lacerate basically kicks off almost every time, so I haven't been worried about that. But anyway, that is how I got through it. Just running this crappy food, whatever this is. What do we got? I don't know what this food is, but this is like the most basic food. It'll roll over and go to the next one when it comes through, but we got through it. So we've got 8 level increases to choose from. We're definitely choosing prayer. We're definitely choosing rune crafting. I guess we'll do astrology, smithing probably, and we need to do prayer again. Yeah, we need to take prayer. Mining, I could go with smithing, but I think I want to bring up the fletching, and I'm going to do harvesting. We'll do harvesting for that. We'll do corruption there. That way corruption will still go up. And the reason I chose harvesting is I'm kind of bottlenecked on harvesting right now, and I could use some stuff in smithing. And since I've got smithing opened, it would be nice to be able to get into, like, I can't do gloomite stuff because which is it? One of these I couldn't do. Yeah, gloom resin. So I don't have any gloom resin. Can we get to gloom now? Gloom goes to 22, so we'll be able to get to gloom. So I'm probably outpacing that gear anyway, but I don't know. It is what it is. I'm just trying to take advantage of it. So going forward with this series, if you notice, I haven't done a video at all this week. This is like the first video for it. I've been really struggling to want to sit down and make a video. Like, the only thing I've done since the last video is basically got all my combat skills up to 40 when they were. Ranged, I didn't get there. And then I worked on wood cutting overnight last night. I was kind of just bored with combat. And basically what I did is sat down today and said, YOLO, I'm just going to throw it on a dungeon. So I think this is what I'm going to do. It's just work in the background. The videos will be a little bit more sparse, but I'll just come in for this series when I'm actually doing a dungeon, because otherwise it's just, hey, I leveled this stuff up. I'm not getting any gear. This is absolutely frustrating. I was kind of trying to decide how I wanted to proceed forward with this. Like, I wanted to get these amulets of power, and I have 50 of them. I actually spent time working with my ranged character farming these things. And was it killing these things here? Yeah, I know they don't have a great drop rate, but I did try to farm them. I was leveling him up, working on this, and I know there's a monster that has a better drop rate. I think it's down here, and I think it's this guy here. He's got a better drop rate, but I had trouble killing him. And I might want to revisit that, but I also started using a lot of food, and I didn't want to burn through all my food either. But at any rate, I think going forward, I want to just chill on this a little bit and just maybe do the dungeons. There's nothing exciting coming about this. And it's frustrating for me as a creator because there's just nothing going on. Like, I could do a video, I could do twice a week videos and say, hey, I gained 5 levels in this and 1 level in that. And then the next videos, 5 levels in this and, 6 levels or something like that. It's super slow. It's just, this expansion just hits completely different. And I get why relic mode might get through this a little quicker, and I might be able to just plow through this and ignore a lot of things. In fact, you'll notice I've been just using melee. My ranged gear is horrible. I don't have any ranged gear. I wasn't able to figure out where some of it dropped. And I know some of you guys have mentioned that, some of this stuff drops some gear. Well, the stuff that I see that it dropping is gear that takes some a component that I have to craft or smith or something up and then convert it over. I don't see one real handy, but I don't see anything in here that is some awesome piece of gear that just drops and I can use. Like I can get glumite boots. Sure, I can get those as a drop and I could potentially get some stuff to upgrade them, but I'm not seeing anything in here. We got some other places open. Oh yeah, I forgot I could get into this. Like this fractured beast shield's fine. These boots here are fine. The seismic wave boots, that's great. Here's some seismic toss gloves. I should probably go and try to kill those things off. But I'm not like, there's arrows here. There's no actual gear. And some people have mentioned that they got all their gear from out here. And I'm trying to figure out how they did that, because the stuff that I do see in here, like I said, it takes something to upgrade it. Yeah, there's the thorn gear, which isn't very good. The stuff that I have is better than that, I think. There's nothing there. We need to go down probably into this stuff. But like there's runes and talons and stuff like that. Like there's no actual gear in this. It's all just materials for crafting and stuff like that. I don't know where you guys are pulling up your gear. It just kind of baffles me that I get that comment. There's like a shield, but I don't see armor on any of this stuff. There's a ring. I don't know. There's a crossbow. Like there's some cool weapons here, but I wasn't able to. I probably should revisit idling these. I could probably idle them. Like there's the wither cape and stuff like that. I could probably deal with some of this stuff now, and like echoing ring and stuff like that. I know some of it maybe comes from this, but again, like some of these cores and stuff, you have to have the helmet, which maybe you can get the helmet from a drop, but there's fear gems and fear cores and stuff like this. This is all great, but I don't see like armor and helmets and stuff like that. There's occasionally a glove or a shield or something, but I don't see where all this gear is supposed to come from. That I'm very tightly covered on crafting, and rune crafting's opened up quite a bit, and I actually got to what can we do up to mystic gear. So I was able to put like some gloom mystic gear on and stuff like that. But my crafting is so limited that this is it. This is all I have on my range character. And I don't have anything better. So I honestly don't know where all this gear is coming from, unless you're just doubling down on one combat style, which is pretty much what I'm doing here. I was fully ready to go into magic, but my abyssal resistance on magic is always too low for whatever it needs to do. Melee has been the one thing that I have to go to, and probably in part because of the smithing that I've got, because I made these brumite legs and the other stuff that I was using. So I'm personally not seeing how you can just sustain this on all combat. I don't see it. Maybe it's there and I'm just not envisioning it. I don't know, but I'm just not seeing that that's coming through. And, the other thing too is like I've been grinding on these amulets of power. Every one of these amulets takes 100 to get. And a lot of these come from me just idling overnight and stuff like that. So you don't get as many because I'll go in here. Like I need 50 million Slayer coin right now. And what I'll do is I'll put it on a lower task, just tell it to automatically fight new task and let it run. Because I know it's just going to do nothing but kill stuff all night while I sleep or whatever. And it's just not generating as much Slayer coin. So I don't know. I'm struggling. I'm struggling through this. I think I'm going to tone the videos down, the quantity down. I was going to do weekly, but if I'm not going to have any weekly progress, I don't want to mess with it. And the reason I want to just focus on the next dungeon is because I think I want to just go at my own pace. I don't see how this combat only thing is going to proceed forward. Sure, I can level all this stuff up, but I think I want to go through and get some stuff out of smithing maybe. And maybe I don't need to do that anymore because I'm already, like maybe I could get some witherite gear. That'd probably help out. We could get to level 55. So that'll get me into the witherite stuff if I can get I can't do witherite bars, but even, I don't know that I can get to the harvesting part of it, but I think I just want to kind of go at my own pace. And that's basically what I'm looking at, is just bringing you in on the dungeons. Here's the dungeon. Here's the choices. Cause I don't feel like my choices are all that. If if I'm making anything that's non-combat choice related, I don't feel like it's worth it. So I feel like I have to choose everything combat related. That's one problem that I'm having. The amount of grind that it has, this is like a multi-factor problem. The amount of grind that's in this game is ridiculous, and it's kind of annoying, to be honest with you. Every time I turn around, I need 50 million of this or 100 of those, and I wanted to go to do this Slayer thing, but I need to have well, and that's the other thing. I'm getting mixed up with my standard account. So my standard account needs 50 million. I don't have enough for that. So I need 75 million to unlock this. There's another 125 million. I don't know. It's just, it's getting frustrating. Very frustrating. So, yeah, that's kind of what I wanted to do with this video. I actually didn't expect to beat this dungeon, but I see why. And if everything's going to be dot damage and not necessarily, I feel like this should kill me though. 100% of the enemy's normal damage 3 times over 0.4 seconds. So if this thing's doing over my auto eat, which it looks like 45,000, that should kill me. The only thing I think that's saving me is maybe getting ahead of it and attacking, because I do have lifesteal on here. And I guess, I'm not sure. I don't know why it's working, but it's working in my favor. So anyway, kind of rambling all over the place, but I've been trying to figure out how to go forward with this series. I've not been happy with it, and I would prefer to enjoy the pace of the game and stuff like that, instead of trying to cram a video out that basically says, hey, I accomplished like one thing. At the beginning of this week, the only thing I had done was gotten these combat levels up to par. That's it. That was my entire accomplishment from all of last week to the start of this week, from the last video to like 1 week after I made the last video. That was all I had. So I was like, you know what? I just don't even feel like making a video. I need to. I need to keep the series alive, but it's just kind of not working out. So anyway, longer video, a lot of blah, blah, blah. We are moving forward. We are just going to be only looking at the actual dungeons and when I run a new one and have to make skill choices. So that's probably going to be the way this continues forward unless something drastic changes. I am eagerly awaiting the patch that they've got whenever they short cycle some of this stuff. But anyway, that is going to do it for this video. We will catch you on the next one. Take care.